Welcome into the Sports Objective as we're doing 50 Pirates in 50 days. With us, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you, man?
What's going on, Dave?
I'm doing fantastic here on a Friday night. Bubba Rosenbaum, how are you, sir?
Doing well, and just had a little thunderstorm come through.
All right. Well, it looks like you made it through it. You're good to go. And with us, we got a very special guest, right, for the Pirates.
Yeah, as you see there on the bottom left corner of the screen, defensive lineman for the Pirates from 1987 to 1991. Welcome into the show, Greg Gardill.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And like I said earlier, it's always a great time to get up with some guys that like talking Pirate football and rekindling some old memories. It's fun.
No doubt about it. We're glad to have you because your Peach Bowl team is always right up there. A lot of people hear Peach Bowl, but there's some people that were not born even when the Peach Bowl happened. So we like to talk about periods of time before. Some people just talk about the last 10 years, but we feel like the Pirate football and Pirate tradition was built many, many years ago. And the Peach Bowl, I mean, it's hard to argue that you guys were one of the best teams in the history of the program.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I think it started way back with Pete Dye and Art Baker and you know, I think I listened to one of your interviews with somebody, and they were talking about you know, the talent in the coaching staff back in the 80s and the 90s and all those guys that are in the NFL, and it's a tribute to, you know, a lot of great leadership and vision. You know, Dave Hart being one of those guys. You know, it takes good people to keep the locomotive running and coming downhill. So it's a tribute to a lot of hard work and people that you know, strive for good things. So,
Greg, I know you grew up in I know you grew up in Western Pennsylvania. So just talk about your recruitment. You were 6'2", 6'3", 235 or 40 pounds. I believe you got recruited by the likes of Penn State, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame. But then I believe you came in as a Prop 48. Is that right? And then once you got the grade in East Carolina, you said had been with you all along. So just talk about that process.
Yeah, Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in Johnstown, small steel town. All the Right Moves was filmed there with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
My brother was in it.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, just Western PA football. And anybody that follows football knows that that's a hotbed. It dates back the whole way to Johnny Unitas. And you know, I went to my dad coached me in grade school. And I went to Bishop McCord High School my freshman and sophomore year, and Buster Wellick was my coach, and he laid some great seeds in work ethic and got me into lifting, which I really enjoyed, and really you know, focusing on football because that's what I wanted to do, and you know, like I said, planted great seeds of work ethic, and then my junior year, I transferred to Johnstown High, which was in a Keystone Conference, real good conference, Western PA football. You know, with those two schools, you can look back and great tradition. You know, the likes of Steve Smear and Archero Hawkins and you know, Jack Ham, Pete Duranko, just a lot of guys that you know, loved the game and played football and was from a rich tradition. So yeah, my junior year I was being recruited by a lot of top-notch schools. However, it's a student athlete, and the student comes first, and I didn't prepare myself grade wise. So in February, I needed a B my senior year in English as a high school student, not to be Proposition 48. So in signing dates in February. So, they weren't going to take their chance on some, 17-year-old kids. So there were a couple other Greg Gardills out there that had the B. So they went a different way. And luckily for me, East Carolina, Donnie Thompson was running up through Western Pennsylvania, and he stopped at the school. And, Coach Davich, which, he was another great guy in my life. My high school coach at Johnstown gave me a lot of, great guidance into because he was a college coach too, and just a lot of great guidance on what I wanted to do. And so eventually I did get the B. I wasn't Proposition 48. My last visit was to East Carolina, and Don Thompson, like I said, recruited me. Took a trip to Greenville, and absolutely fell in love with the mentality, the blue collarness, the guys, Anthony Simpson, Shannon Bowling, Mike Applewhite. Went on my recruiting trip with Joe Holmes and Shane Hubble, and just a lot of guys that had the same mentality that I did. And after that, went home. Like I said, it was my last official visit, and told my parents, I said, I really feel comfortable there. So, and for me, like I said about Coach Davich at Johnstown, he kind of gave me a little bit of insight. He said, look at it positively. You're going in East Carolina, and you got a chance to contribute there and play. And looking back on it, I have no regrets, because it was the best fit for me. Looking back, because I hung out with guys that I liked. I enjoyed, the likes of Dave Hart and Art Baker, and it was a good fit, and ended up playing my freshman year, and lettering, and then 4-year letterman, 3-year starter, played in 44 out of 45 college football games. You can't get much better than that. So yeah, it was a neat deal coming out of Western Pennsylvania and moving south, and what a great fit, and a lot of people in between that made it happen.
You were talking about obviously with the Pirates back at that time, obviously in the late '80s, with Art Baker and then Bill Lewis. What were the when that coaching change happened? What was the mood? What were things like during that time, going from Art Baker and then you have Bill Lewis coming in?
Yeah, Art Baker, great man. Like I said, he put himself around great people that he could manage, and the defense and offense coordinators, Kevin Gilbride and just a lot of guys that knew the game of football and were really good at it. And unfortunately, we were playing some great teams, and I think in the month of October, my freshman year, Florida State, West Virginia, Miami, and Syracuse. That's pretty good. And we were hanging with them, believe it or not. We were, we'd get to the third quarter, and that's where they would reload. And unfortunately, fortunately in our later years, young guys like me got the chance to get christened, and I think that really helped in that '91 season, because the likes of Robert Jones and a lot of those guys were playing at an early age and getting experience, and I think that really helped out with that Peach Bowl team. But the question was, the transition. Art Baker was a good guy. He put himself around good people, and then Bill Lewis came in, and he was a no nonsense guy that just absolutely demanded the most out of you, and was a great motivator. Would raise the hair on the back of your neck when he gave a pregame speech and got you ready to play. So two great coaches, and I learned an awful lot from both of them. And it was like I said, when you're around good people, you strive to do good things, and that's what we did.
Did you have any idea going into that 91 season that you guys were going to be as good as you were? I mean, I know you always have confidence as a football player, but did you see that coming?
The 91 season was special, and it was like a freight train coming downhill for myself. The 2 years prior to, we were on the cusp of being pretty good. I mean, we go down to Georgia, and a few things happen our way, and we win that game. We go to Pittsburgh, sophomore year. A few things happen, and we're a good coaching staff in my book is a great coaching staff. Is what they did was they filmed and they showed you film, and they took out five or six plays throughout the course of the game, and they said, hey, listen, if we make these 5 plays, it's a completely different ball game. And you got to start believing in yourself, and you got to start believing in your players around you. And all 11 guys on the field have to fight, bite, scratch, kick, gouge, whatever it takes to make the play. And when you've got 11 guys doing their job, trying to make a play, and then you have all these little wins that then win the war. I think those two, my sophomore and junior year, we realized that we were just one step away, and you make the cookie crumble, and the senior year we made it crumble our way, or we made the ball bounce our way, and then we picked up momentum, and the I believe just everybody caught on, and it was a great thing. It was a great thing.
Looking back at that 91 season, you start off with a loss at Illinois, didn't lose again that year. At what point during that season did you guys realize, oh, yeah, we can do something special here? Was it early, maybe against South Carolina? Was it on the road against Syracuse? At what point did you realize, we can do something special?
For me, it was probably Syracuse, and personally, it was Syracuse and South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina, for me, they were always hard. I mean, they had tough players and could run fast, and we always had a tough time, and we ended up getting them up in our place, and we thumped them. I mean, we played hard, we played good, everybody was on page, and that's when personally I think we started gelling, and that's when you knew that you're gonna do something, and we did, and it was just like time in and time every game, we knew somebody had to stand up and make a play, and let it fall on one guy's shoulder this week and the next guy's shoulder the other week, but it was just somebody knew that they were going to step up and make a play, and that's what the camaraderie, and that's what being a team is all about, is relying on everybody else to just pick up the slack and play hard, and we did that, which made it special. So,
Bobby, you gonna jump in?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
All right, Greg. Yeah, Kyle references that Illinois game. Obviously, rallied from down 38-10, cut it to 38-31, then got that onside kick, and then the ridiculous penalty that was called for excessive celebration was too much to overcome that week. But that following week, that game against Memphis really stands out because they had just beaten USC in the Coliseum the week before, and I remember running the same play over and over to Cedric Van Buren behind Tom Scott late in that game to put it away.
Yeah, when you got that big, and back then Tom Scott was, he was one of I mean, his feet and it was like a Mack truck, and they just crashed it down and bounced it outside and hard to stop. And when you got that and for a defender, which I am, it's hard when somebody just keeps on smash mouth and you can't stop it. That had to be punch in the face to them. But yeah, the offense did a heck of a job just taking it home, and that was the first, obviously, big step in that 91 season.
Greg, as far as that season, one thing that comes to mind is certainly the word pressure. Did you guys feel any pressure as there's so many wins in a row, and all? Do you feel like were you actually more loose because you're winning a lot, or did you feel pressure each week, like as the season's going on and you've got 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row? I mean, is it more pressure for you, or is it the game easier for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously going undefeated is difficult, and you do feel that pressure. But I think, once again, we talk about our coaching staff. My coach, Gardill, what an article he is. I mean, just a great man. Once again, a person that I owe a lot to, in sending me down the right path and helping me influence my ways. But once again, when you have good people around you and you have a coach that knows what's in and knows how to harness everything that you do, I didn't feel any pressure. We were just going out and we were playing football. We were doing what we were brought on campus to do, and that's go out and play, have fun, kick butt and take names, and when it all shakes down, we're getting W's at the end of the game, and it's a fun train to be on, and that's how I think that's how all of us felt. And then you add in the great Pirate fans, which, oh my gosh, getting off a plane and seeing all those people. We were talking about Kinston, driving down to Kinston and just hanging out and celebrating, and it's a hard train to stop. It's a hard train to stop, and that's how I feel that 91 season was. Pressure, no. It was a fun time, and we were having fun. We were having fun in the dorms. We were having fun in practice. We were having fun, in school and everything. It was a good time to be a Pirate.
Yeah, and one thing everybody always talks about is that Virginia Tech game at the end of the year. You had to beat the Hokies to get the Peach Bowl invite, and you actually had another game after that against Tennessee. I've asked this to a couple of other people, and it seems like the Independence Bowl came up. What were the other options? I mean, we even if we'd have lost to the Hokies, presuming we would have beat Cincinnati the following week, would have been 10-2 or 9-2. What do you remember other bowls that were being talked about if we didn't get the Peach?
You know what I remember? I remember Coach Lewis getting us up as a team and saying, "You know what? It doesn't matter what the other bowls are." And he says, we can go into that, but it's a moot point right now. We just got to keep on winning." And I think that's all we did was we focused in on Virginia Tech, which, by the way, was an awesome game. And to be up in Lane Stadium at the tail end of the year, when so many teams are looking for that upset, and Virginia Tech, a quality football team, what a great win on the road, which just gave that freight train some more momentum. And it was never discussed. It was discussed that what we were going to do is each week we were going to prepare for the weekly opposition, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna do our best, and we're gonna let the chips fall, and that's how we played it all year, and once again, good coaching, good leadership.
No doubt about it. With
Greg, I know. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Greg, as far as you're talking about Pirate Nation, I think our fan base is way underrated. I think with East Carolina is one of the best in the country. I've even had people say about the baseball team, but yeah, the football team as well, that they feel like our fan base is right up there with SEC fans as far as how passionate. If you look at, for example, you talk about the Peach Bowl. I mean, look how many people went to Atlanta. Every time we have a bowl, my God, we haven't been to a bowl so long. It could be any bowl right now. And there's going to be thousands and thousands of people that'll buy tickets because we haven't been to a bowl in 5 years, going on 6.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the great things about that town, about that community, and once again, I talked about Dave Hart, and what a great visionary. When I got there 30 years ago, and he's still doing it now, and we just as a pirate and as a fan now, tap in to that great resource, and that great resource is a bunch of crazies that love to see the purple and gold win, and I mean, it's as simple as that. And what support, and you need support, and you need fans cheering, and you need to fill the stadium, you need to fill seats, and the only thing now, you talk about pressure. We need a team that goes out and plays hard, and sees the goal, and wins. That's what we need.
Greg, you talk about the fans and feeling the fans and the presence in the stadium. Could have a situation this fall where if we play football, we could potentially be playing with no fans or at best limited fans. Talk about as a guy who played it at the highest level. What do you think it would be like playing a football game with no fans in attendance?
That's a great point. It's the next 2 months, and oh, it's a bag, and nobody knows what's in that bag, and it's going to be very interesting. But I still think, if you get a team, and you've got a good game plan, and you've got people that believe in what's at the end of the tunnel, and how to get there, and believe in the plan, then I think they'll understand, and they'll almost feel the support that Pirate Nation has, because it is out there, and now with social media, and that's one way of getting it. I know with my kids, and texting, and man, they can feel the support through social media, and they start winning, they start playing hard, even if the stand's empty, and we're playing NC State. Game on, let's go. Yeah, you're getting me jacked up.
Yeah. Are you active going to being on the Outer Banks? Are you active going to Dowdy Ficklin to the 6 home games, maybe 7 home games a year?
Yeah. So my daughter, Elizabeth Caroline, EC Elizabeth Caroline. Yeah, she's a sophomore there. So,
nice.
I hook up with Coach Cadet, and see him at the stadium every once in a while. Saw Dave Hart, Lee Workman. It's great walking through, and just waving to people that from 30 years ago. They're still there supporting. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen, but I'd love to. I'd love to be able to go and watch that sunset on a Saturday evening, and watch some Pirate kick some butt.
Bobby, you got anything else for Greg?
Yeah, and we have a comment from one of our loyal viewers and listeners here, Johnny Gardner's. He said he was the same class as you, 87 to 91, and obviously that 91 season, everything was electric. The campus, the city of Greenville, exposure on ESPN, with Lee Corso, of course, being a naysayer throughout the course of the season. I know some Pirate fans from Winston-Salem sent him a saber. So we had some fun with that, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, that's the truth. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, he spoke at, or he had a little blurb at our dinner
Yeah,
for
he
that
did.
91 season, and he had to eat crow. So, you know, and everybody knows that that's not a good bird to eat, but he had to eat it. And yeah, and once again, you know, that goes into that season. I mean, you are going to have naysayers, and it just makes it that much sweeter when you go to Virginia Tech, or you know, you go up to Syracuse, and Jeff Blake's running all over the field and making great passes, and the defense is stepping up and making stops, and you know, all of a sudden Sports Illustrated is making comments like, you know, who are these guys? And once again, what a season. And you know, everything it seemed like everything happened for a reason for in that season, and we all took something out of it and made positive, and obviously, you know, one of the best teams in Pirate history.
No doubt
Greg,
about
one
it.
of you.
I was just going to say, Bubba, real quick, the fact that the first double-digit win team of 11 wins, the most still in school history, and it's only happened. 2013 was the second time in school history. So you got to be pretty proud to be the first to get more than 10 wins, and obviously you still have the school record of 11 wins. It'd be nice to have another team that will be knocking at the door at your record, right?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Go out and beat it. You know, it's just like you know, the good old Dolphins, and you know, they have that party. But no, sure, you know, be successful. You know, it would be great to see Pirate football, and I think Coach Houston's doing a great job. You know, his coaching staff. Once again, I think he has a great nucleus there. You know, Dale Steele, you know, he was on our staff. You know, a lot of those guys know how to coach football. You know, it's just a matter of getting the guys to play and believing. You know, hopefully they can do that and get this thing turned around. I think they're on a good course. You know, we just need some momentum. So, without a doubt.
Greg, I know one of your good friends, teammates on that 91 team. He was a junior when you were, of course, a senior. Zion Kumalai. Talk about Zion. And we've had him on the show multiple times. He's a lot of fun to talk to and loves the Pirate.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah.
They brought him in from junior college, and good old Zion, you know, tough kid. I don't know if he ever told you the story about wrestling that bear, but he wrestled a black bear. A good wrestler in high school. That was his sport. You know, knows how to use leverage. You know, would do anything for you, and that's another thing. A lot of those guys that I played with, that I put myself around, like Zion and even back when I got to East Carolina, you know, they were guys that a coach would say, you know, jump off this bridge, and it would go through their head for just a second, and if it all made sense, they'd jump off the bridge for you. And when you're playing around, you know, people like that, people that you can rely on and trust, it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier to know that they're going to be there when you're running a stunt, or when you're taking a double team on, and you know, it makes it a lot easier when you're around guys like Zion, which is tribute to him. So
I think he's naturally caffeinated. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, he is. He I'm telling you, I'd never wrestle a black bear, but he did.
We'll have to, well, next time, Bubba, make a note of that. We're going to have to ask him about the wrestling a black bear story, and we'll make sure that you know about it, Greg. So maybe we can get you to pop in.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube, so you could probably YouTube it.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Hey, Greg, before we move on and talk about your life after East Carolina, since they're in the early 90s, and just talk about, obviously, that talked about the 91 season, but do you have a specific moment, whether it was a game, maybe getting back to the airport in Kinston, or something that was one of your favorites?
Yeah, boy, just hanging out with guys. I like the camaraderie of it. I mean, we used to play spades and in the dorm and hang out in Scott Hall and training table and it was just a bunch of guys that like to be around and like to be part of the program and and the camaraderie for me was probably the best. The locker room, we had just moved into the new building over there, which was brand spanking new, and it made that's another thing for that whole season. I mean, we moved into a new building. I remember being in Scales Fieldhouse and sitting in fold out chairs and walking down to the old skate park, as the weight room, and when we got to the new building, man, we thought we were something, and that added on to that, and just gave you a bigger, it blew us up a little bit, emotionally, mentally, so I think for me, the good thing, we would take Keith Arnold's truck. He had an old Ranger, and would put plastic lining in it, and in the springtime, on the hill, fill it up water, and have a mobile water Ford F-150 pool, and we drive around, and just good old times with good old guys, and we had a blast, playing pranks in the dorms, and that's what I really enjoyed is hanging out with a bunch of good guys.
Your time there, were there places, nightlife or restaurants that? So you're talking about hanging out with the guys. Are there stories you can share, or are there certain places that you remember back in your time there?
Yeah, sure. I liked Pantana's and the sports pad. I like shooting pool and good old classic rock and roll, and Ken Burnett and Joe Holmes and the likes of Shane Hubble. We'd all go down. Sean McConnell was my roommate my senior year, and we'd all go down and shoot some pool and hang out. Have a good time. We the the one story, I guess Shannon Bowling and Matt McLaughlin and a couple of those guys, took off one night and doing a little streaking, and I don't know, I think it was Chad Greer one evening, said, "Hey, let's rekindle that flame, that tradition." So, a bunch of us, figured, okay, take a team picture down in front of the student store like they did. So, just college prank stuff that was fun. We had a good time. We had a good time.
No doubt. That sounds like a lot of fun for sure. As far as we know now, you told us you're on the Outer Banks. So talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so I went back to Western Pennsylvania, worked in a family business with my brother and my father, and it was good. Running a farm, cattle farm. We milked cows for a while, and then I got into some hardware. My brother and I owned Ace Hardwares, and then I worked for Anheuser Busch for a stint, which was good because my kids were growing up. But then my oldest daughter came home. She was an athletic trainer, and my wife and I had always talked about moving back to Eastern North Carolina, and my daughter comes home and she was at some college fair and she said something about going to Slippery Rock, which is north of Pittsburgh. And I looked at my wife, DA, and I said, if she goes to Slippery Rock, we're here for another 25 years in Western Pennsylvania. And we had talked about getting back to Eastern North Carolina, and it was the perfect storm. We were on vacation because her family does own places on the Outer Banks, and we were on vacation, and I saw this job opportunity with John Harris, and I went in and interviewed with them, and he stuck his hand out and said, "You're hired," and there was no looking back. It was a perfect storm for me. My kids, I got 4 kids, one at East Carolina and then 3 at First Flight High School. And they made the transition great. They have no problem surfing and all the water sports that they sometimes miss snow, but it's great. I love my job. Like anybody that likes to excel, they work hard and good things will follow. So on the Outer Banks, my daughter's at East Carolina, which is, like I said, is fun because I get to go back there. And then my boys are heavy into lacrosse. So I've been help coaching the local lacrosse team, which gets me back on the field. And I like doing that because I get jacked up. Nicholas will come over to me every once in a while and say, "Hey, Dad, calm down. You're too jacked up." But like I tell the kids, enthusiasm is infectious, and you can't stop it, and it's good. And if you're not playing all jacked up, you need to, because good things happen to those who hustle. So it's good. Everything's good. It's neat.
I had a question, Greg.
Go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, I was going to ask you, with being a former player, what are your thoughts on Coach Mike Houston?
I like him. I think he has that same mentality. I think he gets after it. And this day and age, football is a hard game. And I think to throw your head in there and be physical, there's some confusion. And I think that, you still need to teach it physical. And I think he does that. And I think he has a mentality that he's driving the train, and he's got good engineers and guys that are going to throw coal in the fire and keep the fire hot. And he gets his type of player in there, and he gets his brand of football. He did a great job at JMU. His track record speaks for itself. Now he just needs to do it with the Pirates. So go get him, Coach.
Greg, what I was going to ask you is, I know you said you have 3 kids still enrolled there at First Flight High School. Have you had the opportunity to watch them play basketball any? And the reason I ask you that is Dylan Blake, who's a very good shooter, is a preferred walk-on for the Pirates.
He sure is. And boy, he can blast them from the outside range. And that'll be neat to watch. Hopefully, matter of fact, last time I was on campus, Minji's, we ducked into there and that'll be neat to see him play, and it'll spark my interest because of a local kid. But hopefully, they can get their season on track, and it'll be neat. It'll be neat to watch him.
No question. But I had a question as far as you mentioned earlier, being a film nerd. Sidebar here: your brother was in All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise.
He sure was.
That was a really cool movie when I was that was right before I was a teenager. What was he? I take it on the football team.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I was just saying that that was the time I was asking if he was on the football team.
Yeah, he played at Bishop McCourt, and then he went on to play for Army. He punted for Army for a little bit. So he was what they did in the All the Right Moves was they Craig T. Nelson, Tom Cruise, pretty decent cast, but they set up fire hoses all around the Point Stadium, and that's how they made it rain. And it was in the fall time, so those guys were miserable. It was cold, and man, but they got nice garb, and they got they fed them well. And my brother was I think there's probably 2 times in the movie, since he was playing college, he wasn't allowed to be seen without his face mask on. So he played defensive end and was the kicker. So when you see ball going up on kickoffs, that was his foot. And then his best buddy was Alexander, who played the running back for Walnut Heights. He played at VMI. So yeah, I'll have to watch that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I love those '80s Tom Cruise. That was
Yeah,
a cool time with Top Gun and all that, and Risky Business and all that. But I saw that like a couple months ago. I'll have to check that one out. It's been a long time since I've seen that, and hopefully at some point I love to go to movies. Hopefully, I think it's pushed back to September where you can't go to the theater now until because of COVID-19. So it'll be nice to see a movie in the movie theater again at some point.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. We've been watching a lot on streaming them, but it'll be nice.
No doubt. Well, do you guys have anything else for Greg?
I'm good. Just glad to have him on, and here he's been successful.
That's one thing that we always say. We always wonder what happened to the guys that we've watched for the number of years, and then we don't see them anymore. So we were wondering, like, what happened? You know, where are they now? And it's so many great success stories of Pirate players. In this particular case, football, that it's just amazing. It's really cool to see. You know, after the field, so to speak, you guys we all grow up and we have children and wives and lives, and the fact that you're successful is really cool.
Yeah, and a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of good people that influenced me, and a lot of great people that I put myself around that you know, it's really neat. It's really neat to be around good people and you know, guys like Coach Cadet and all my high school coaches and Coach Lewis and yeah, players. It's really neat.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, being a part of 50 Pirates in 50 days. And hopefully we can talk about, I'd love to have you back. Hopefully we can talk about football in the fall or whenever we're going to play this season. We'd love to have you back and to break down the game.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens there. Keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully we can get through this this little hiccup.
Yep.
No doubt. Well, hope you have a great night. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this Friday evening.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Greg.
It was nice.
Appreciate it very much. All right.
Yeah. See ya.
Good night. All right. Well, that's 50 Pirates in 50 days. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you, Bubba, very much. And I know we've got some content coming up if you want to promo that, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, tomorrow morning we'll catch up with Will Bland. Will played receiver for the Pirates. He actually came in under Steve Logan and then stayed on, of course, under John Thompson and then Skip Holtz. So he saw the program, take a dip and then rise back to the point of making it to the postseason and set the stage for what was to come after that with 8-win seasons, 9-win seasons, and conference championships. Will is actually in the coaching ranks now, and he is at Greenville Rose High School, first-year head coach, taking over for Dave Witecki.
Sounds good, and I appreciate it very much. And we've got a lot of other shows up on SoundCloud, Anchor, everywhere, Audio Boom, different places. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can hear 50 Pirates in 50 days. And we had a great show for the weekend where we have none other than the king of college football, Phil Steele. And of course, earlier today, we recorded it with him and the commissioner of the American, Mike Oresco. So go back and check that out for this weekend. Nice little listen, and a lot of great other shows we've had over the last few weeks or so. All right, for Greg Gardill, appreciate him from the Peach Bowl team, and obviously for Kyle from LaGrange and Bubba Rosenbaum, I'm Dave Richmond. 50 Pirates in 50 days, right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.